What's going on, everybody? UFC Rio, the official recap. I appreciate everyone kind of bearing with me over the last couple weeks. Haven't been putting out the recaps. Just been so busy with life and work and a zillion other things. But no excuses. I said I was going to come back to doing the recap, so here I am back doing the recaps, which I do enjoy. It's just like Sunday, a day of rest, and then when you give up your Sunday, you don't even give it up. You're giving up an hour out of the Sunday. Seems easy, but you do it like consecutive weeks in a row, eventually you slip up. Anyways, not here to complain about me, here to complain about some of these fights. Not all of them. Good night overall. Definitely happy with the overall result and outcome, but 7-5 over 12 fights. So yeah, I expect a little bit more of myself. So let's figure out exactly where we went wrong and how we can fix that. Starting off with Luan Lacerda versus Simon Oliveira in the first fight of the card. This one was obviously weird because Simon Oliveira had missed weight by 8 pounds. So he came in at 144. And Lacerda was always going to be a top six guy, top four, top six guy. You didn't love the money line, but I think when you saw Simon Oliveira miss weight, your initial reaction is, ooh, that's not good for us. This guy's got an 8 pound weight advantage now. But I think the more you thought about it over time, you only miss weight by you're 0-3 in the UFC. You know your job is already at stake. If you lose this fight and you go 0-4, probably getting cut. But if you miss weight, then even if you win this fight, but you missed weight by 8 pounds, you still probably getting cut. So you know he probably had something physically go wrong in camp. Didn't look like he looked physically ill in the fight. He's just not a good fighter. But yeah, the 8 pounds made absolutely zero impact. Anyways, first round, Simon Oliveira, Luan Lacerda. Lacerda, again, we knew he'd go to the body. He's landing a couple decent kicks. He's moving forward. Simon Oliveira, there's just nothing all that redeemable to him. But the two takedowns from Luan Lacerda, the 3.5 minutes of control time, being able to take his back, being able to, threaten, not really threaten any submissions per se, but just really have a good control, land the better shots. He wins the round. The second round, it does seem to me like Lacerda's starting to slow down. Like he himself is also 0-2 in the UFC and just not also very good. So that second round, he looked a little more labored. I like that he was using those body kicks. I like that he was going forward, and I like that he just shot the takedown, got the takedown, easy money on the ground. From there, Oliveira like reverses, ends up on top, and Lacerda hits him with an armbar from guard. Which I know somebody mentioned that Marcin Tybura had gotten subbed by Spivak armbar from guard, and that is men's MMA 2025. So something you don't see very often. But yeah, it still happens. It was a deep bite on it. It was a verbal submission. He yells to the ref. Lacerda lets go of it. The ref doesn't even know what's going on. So obviously had a good bite on it. But yeah, right man won. Guy that made the weight. Guy that was 0-2 in the UFC, but had fought in some good guys and was giving it a full effort. But he's 32 years old. He's a little bit older himself. I think that this was a fine first win in the UFC. And he got a performance bonus out of it. I'm pretty sure he got $50,000 for that. Just make sure. I think he got 50,000 for that. Maybe he did. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He got to win in the UFC. I think that's the big thing for him. For Oliveira, he's definitely cut at this point. I just don't really think that there's any value in having an 0-4 guy on the roster. He's been absolutely torched and taken down 11 times. He's been torched and knocked out once in the first round. Then he gets knocked down in the second round. And now this fight, he gets armbarred in the second round. They're probably out of that business. But Lacerda starts off with a win anyways. Julia Palostri versus Karolina Kowalkiewicz. Um, Again, I think we kind of expected this to go down how it went, in that Carolina's I think she's a month removed from her 40th birthday, or she'll be 40 in a month from now. Palostri, 27 years old. I made a point on the show on Wednesday that it's like Karolina Kowalkiewicz is 0-4 in the UFC against Brazilian opponents. And then this was her fifth Brazilian opponent, and Julia Palostri. And again, just her last three opponents have been 22 years old, 25 years, or 24 years old, and now 27 years old. UFC is doing her no favors. They bring her in, they give her opponents that are 13 to 15 years younger than her, and expect her to out hustle them, which she doesn't. This one was a little more telling than the last couple, because if you look at the Denise Gomez fight, she loses a decision. It's not eventful, but she goes through the motions and doesn't overly get hurt. Against Yasmin Lucindo, it's the same thing. She gets taken down and controlled a little bit, but she doesn't look like vastly out of place. This Palostri fight, her getting finished, nearly got finished in the first, looked out of it in the second, and then did get finished in the third. I think just top to bottom, it was just not a good performance for her. And you would assume that that's the retirement. I would think. The play-by-play basically is Palostri the first round. It lands her. 53 to 21. You know, she's damn near tripling her up. She stuffs all three of Carolina's takedown attempts. She has some control time. It's a really good first round for Pilastri. The second round, I will admit, Julia's body language was a little more. Her hands were low and she was flat footed. Like she's fighting like over the prime or like a past prime version of Anderson Silva in the sense that she's just waiting for you to throw first. She's sitting there flat footed, hands down, and then she's going to react to that. But because she's way faster than Carolina, she was getting away with it. Wasn't as good of a second round, but she definitely wins the second round. Outstrikes her 46 to 30, lands the bigger shots. Carolina, slightly better round, but she's getting busted up. And then the third just, swarms her too much. For a girl like Carol Kavich, you're nearly 40. You're 9-10 in the UFC, over 19 fights with the promotion. Former title challenger, but again, a losing record overall, on a 3-fight losing streak. They're giving you bad matchups, but there's not a whole lot of good matchups within the division. It's tough. And then for Pilastri, this is, I wouldn't say a layup, but it's a high name fight, good profile, good visibility, extremely winnable. And she looked good in it, and she got a finish. But second round, she starts to slow, and you just got to think like this is against Carolina. Against other girls, right? It's not enough to just sit there flat footed and try to counter off their strikes. But again, she's a 6-1 favorite in this fight, and she looked like a 6-1 favorite in this fight. Won fairly handily as far as I'm concerned. Got the win, not much to it. Stuart Nickel versus Louis Roca. Totally wrong on this one. Totally wrong on this one. But again, this is why you watch tape and you think that you get an idea of what you think is going to happen, right? And then that's what you base the picks on. Is I think that Stuart Nickel's going to shoot a pile of takedowns and he'll be able to get these takedowns. Why? Because Roca's been taken down a bunch of times by better wrestlers than Nickel, but all the same, good guys were taking him down quite frequently. So Roca overall, well, now his takedown defense is probably through the roof, 76% now. But prior to that, it's like Davy Bittencourt took him down 5 times. Clayton Carpenter took him down twice, but it was twice on 3 attempts, right? I really thought that Nickel would have a lot easier of a job getting these takedowns. And he ended up going 2 for 20. And both of those two actually came in the first round. Around that, he only got outstruck 15 to 14. And he landed 2 takedowns on 12 attempts and had a minute and a half of control time. But he still loses the round. Like the punches that he were landing were like low calf kicks and maybe like a jab here and there. Not like he didn't land no good shots, but nothing that at any point got Roka's respect at all. Nothing that was able to back him up. Nothing that was able to get the crowd excited. Nothing that was able to do anything. It was mostly him on his back foot. He turned and ran a couple times. He'd shoot these takedowns. And especially in that first round when he shot 12 of them, some of them were really good entries, and he had the takedown, and he's got Roca tripped up. And what I will say is maybe I overestimated Nickel's ability to get the fight to the ground and use that BJJ black belt to control him. But I certainly also underestimated Roca's only 23, 24 years old. He's got a ballooned up 18-2 record, I think it is right now. It looks a lot better than it is, but he's still really young. And so takedown defense is one area of the game that guys seem to be making rapid growth and development in. And Roca's takedown defense looked pretty good. Again, he stuffed 10 takedowns in the first round, gave up 2, but only 90 seconds of control time. Yeah, he won the first round. He won the first round, and then you knew right then and there that this was over, that Nickel was not going to suddenly come back. Unless Roca tired in the second, but here's what happens in the second. Roca doesn't tire, Nickel tires. Why? Because he shot 12 takedowns in the first round. So he only shoots 4 in the second round and gets none of them with 0 seconds of control time. And in the third round, he shot 4 and got 0 with 0 seconds of control time. He just basically got reduced to getting punched up by Roca. Credit to him, his chin didn't look bad. He took the punches, he took the damage, he rolled with it. At 30 years old, this is his ceiling. So he's very limited. That's it. And then for Roca, this was a really good step in the right direction. Nickel, although he's 0-2 in the UFC and that wasn't a great performance, people will downplay. Guys like me downplay a lot of the time an opponent not being that great. But this is a solid performance, man. He landed 115 total strikes. He stuffed 18 takedowns. His cardio looked good. He was feeding off the energy of the crowd. He's still young. That's a real good step in the right direction. So the UFC can find him more wins. It's up to the matchmakers to give him those winnable fights. If they throw him into the deep end, I don't think he's ready for it quite yet. Nickel's not the deep end. But if they want to give him other guys around that level, slightly above that level, he'll do fine. We never discredited his striking. We knew he'd beat Nickel in the striking match. But we thought if Nickel could get these takedowns, and it wasn't for lack of effort, he shot 20 of them. But if Nickel could get those, that we would win. Nickel would win. We would get that bet. He stuffed them. He stuffed them and made a striking match. And we conceded that we were not the better striker in this spot. So yeah, nice win for Lucas Roca. Gets his first win in the UFC. And Yeah, yeah. Kudos to him. Good performance. Moving on, we've got Beyond Mosquita. Bia versus Irina Alexeyeva, the Russian Ronda. Who gave her that name? I don't know, but they deserve to get slapped in the face because there's pretty well no comparison from Alexieva and Mosquita. Although Alexieva, she likes to use her judo. At least she would like to use her judo. And we broke that down on the preview show on Wednesday, is that she tends to hip in every time you clinch up with her because her natural instinct from that judo background, that judo black belt, is to just try to throw you to the ground. So whenever you clinch with her, she's just going to throw her hip into you and try to toss you. And against an elite level BJJ black belt, probably going to give up your back. What I will say, because this fight's very straightforward, we won't waste too much time on it. The first round, Bia gets the takedown, albeit it's not a great takedown. It's the same thing as her last fight in LFA with Sierra Dinwiddie. They don't have to be great takedowns. She's going to trip you up, create a scramble. She wins the scramble and ends up on top, and then it's over. So that's exactly what she does. She gets on top, 347 of control time on the one takedown, 36-3 in the significant strikes, 56-3 in the total strikes. I don't know if it's a, yeah, it might be a 10-8. I would say this is definitely a 10-8. She has her scarf hold at one point, and she's dropping 12 to 6s in her face while having her with the scarf hold. So yeah, it's an absolute drubbing. But Irene, at the entire time she's getting beat on, she stays flat to her back. And even though she's getting smoked in the mount, and she's taking a lot of damage, she can continue to take this damage. The second round, as soon as she gets taken down and it's right back to mount, she no longer wants to take the damage. So there, one thing she did not do at any point in the first round as she's getting smashed is roll and give up her back. Like she knew if I give up my back, it's over. Because Bia Mesquite has got some of the best rear naked chokes in the game. And you look at her record, and it's literally just a graveyard of opponents who have all been choked out with the Mata Leon, the rear naked choke. This is her position. So in the first round, she's like, I'll take the punches. I ain't getting choked out. That's why she survived the first round. Second round, she gets taken down. She mounted. She's like, I don't want to get punched in the face no more. Take my back. So she scrambles. But what the hell do you think's going to happen in the scramble? You know, it's a 1 in 100 chance, and you did not land in her favor. So Bia takes the back, grabs the rear naked choke, and chokes her out unconscious. That's a I don't know. That pretty much what went down. I think how everybody had it. I had not met one single person that was saying Irina Alekseeva would win. So this is not a pat on the back. We got this right. Everybody got this right. The people that got her by submission, myself included, all got it right. But that first round almost got stopped due to strikes. 100%. The ref could have been like, okay, your scarf hold. You're in a scarf hold getting 12 to 6 in the face. I'm just going to stop this. You got outstruck 56-6 or whatever the number was. I'm just going to stop this. It could have easily been a TKO. Thankfully, it got to the second round, and Irina Alekseeva was like, I'm just going to get choked out instead and rolled over because otherwise TKO was going to happen, and that prop bet would have been up in smokes. Vitor Petrino versus Thomas. I don't know why I always say Pedersen, and I'll interchange them all the time. I guess it's spelled Peterson. We'll just stick with that. He's pretty much dead to me. Not like I had a whole lot of investment in him. He was all the way at the bottom. It was an underdog pick. It was greasy heavyweight fight, and I thought he could go out there and do something, but there just really isn't any, not like there's anything good about him, but there's not anything elite about him in the slightest bit. He's a junior college national champion wrestler, so you would expect that his wrestling's good, but it's really not. He went 0 for 8 in takedowns. I would credit him with one. I thought he got Vitor down in the second round very briefly, but Vitor pops up right away, so it doesn't count as a takedown. By the numbers, he goes 0 for 8 in takedowns in this fight, which is fair against not, and I'm not discrediting Vitor. I'm just saying if you're Thomas Peterson and you're his junior college national champion accolades, um, it's a former 205 pounder Brazilian who's obviously juiced up and big. I get it, but you never really got that close. He was in fact controlling you. He in fact took you down in the first round and got 2 minutes of control time. Wasn't great. And then what about his chin? Well, his chin's also not that great. I gave him a pass in the Gaziev fight because Gaziev's a big 265-pound man who, clearly got some pop, but he gets hit early in the first round, and that's it. He just topples over. This one, in the first round, he's not having a bad first round till he gets knocked down. Once he gets knocked down, it's like visually, this is definitely not your round. And Vitor, again, you watch the round by round, Vitor outlands him in that first round 13-1. The total strikes, sorry, I gotta put the wrong one up. 13-1. The total strikes is 22-15. So Peterson's doing a lot of good stuff in the clinch up against the cage in that really short distance, but none of it's significant. So the knockdown, the 13 strikes, the takedown, the 242 of control time. He's fighting from come behind, but this is his chance, second round, time to turn it on, right? In theory, you're a mobile heavyweight with a good gas tank, and I'll admit, in the second round, he starts walking down Vitor Petrino. Vitor's not running around, but not running away, but he's skirting his feet. He's moving to the outside. He's trying to move laterally and just not have to engage this guy in the pocket. And it's Peterson that's bouncing on his feet and cutting off the range and moving forward and inching forward. Just he couldn't really connect with anything meaningful. And Vitor's not throwing much, but the stuff he is landing obviously does have some impact. A little bit of clinch work. I think truly, I believe in my heart, if that second round takes place in Las Vegas, there's a good argument that Thomas Peterson won that second round. And he's kind of fighting his way back into this ever so slightly. But there's 40 seconds left in the round, and you can see Vitor's tired, and Peterson's just equally as tired. The round ends, and like Peterson throws one last punch, and then kind of just like exhales a deep breath and walks to his corner. And so they were both gassed, but Vitor, obviously younger man, better athlete, recovers better between rounds, and he ended this thing as soon as the third round ended. It's a nasty knockout. He got $50,000 for it. Face plants old Big Tom Peterson. But again, if you're Peterson, you don't really have great durability. Your wrestling, that's your bread and butter. Well, it's not really all that good. Your striking, and that certainly ain't it. And you can't weaponize your cardio and drag guys into deeper waters because your cardio probably not all that good as well. So it wasn't a great look for him. For Vitor, if you're a Vitor guy, then I will apologize. I'm not the biggest Vitor Petrino guy, and this move to heavyweight has proven that he's 2-0 so far with two finishes. Um, but I don't think you can deny that he didn't really look good in this fight. He was just good enough to beat Thomas Peterson. And Thomas Peterson is not exactly the worst guy in the division. So Vitor can probably go and beat 5-6. Probably about just 5 or 6, but of the other low bottom heavyweights of the division. But he still is very low volume. His wrestling really not all that good. His grappling is really not all that good. His cardio is really not all that good. Again, 31 significant strikes. I get it ended early in the third, but you're averaging 14 strikes landed per round. This is not enough. It's not enough. But hey, he was a 3-1 favorite and he cashed. So if you had him on your tickets, you needed that guy to come through. And in the third round, when this thing's looking like it's a little dicey or getting a little greasy, perhaps he does what he's got to do. Flatlines the guy, right? What more can you ask for a guy? So quality win for Vitor Petrino. Cashes 50 G's as a bonus. Kudos to him. Moving on. Jafel Filo versus Clayton Carpenter. I will make an excuse for this one. This is the sad reality of MMA is that you can be maybe the better fighter and you can be doing the right things, but it's a game of small mistakes. You make one small mistake and you're made to look like a fool. I think Clayton Carpenter looked like a fool in this fight, but I don't think it was his fault at all. Like I just think it was wrong place, wrong time. We knew going in that he was going to get taken down on that body lock takedown up against the cage. Jafel Filo takes down pretty well everybody early in the first round. If you look at Filo's game, he's got first round submissions over Daniel Barres, Ode Osborne, Clayton Carpenter. He likes to get it done quick. First round, grab that sub. The fights that have extended beyond the first round see him start to fade a little bit. His weaponry become a little bit, less effective. He's very low volume. 5 strikes landed, 14 landed, 21. Wow, this one was a first round finish to 21, and 21 is actually a good look there. But 9 in a nearly full 3 minutes full 3 rounds against Muhammad Mokaev. We knew, and we talked about this on the previous show, that you could live bet Carpenter after the first round because he was very likely going to lose the first round. And so he's landing the better strike standing, right? In that first round, he outlanded Jafel Filo 7-5, right? The total strikes because of the takedown ends up being 28-12, but I just mean on the feet, he landed a good left hook. He's bouncy, and then as soon as he punches in, Jafel Filo grabs a hold of the clinch. He's able to. It wasn't a body lock takedown, but I'm forgetting what it was. It might have been a single leg, but yeah, he just gets a nice little takedown and right away goes to position. Gets the back, starts looking for rear naked chokes. And Carpenter does an excellent job of defending all the rear naked chokes. Now, here's the thing. There's not very much time left in the round, right? It ended with 18 seconds left in the round. But let's just say there's about, at the point of the scramble, about a minute left in the round. 50 seconds, 1 minute, 50 seconds left in the round. You've lost this round. This dude's already been on your back for 2 minutes. He's been fishing for rear naked chokes. There's 48 seconds left in the round or something. And he does an excellent job of scrambling. All he really needs to do is survive this round because we know that Filo's going to slow down. And we know that Filo just spent 2 minutes on your back and couldn't choke you out. So defensively, you did everything right. Now you've scrambled and you're on top. Your move here is to just separate and get back up, or just, land a few short elbows, finish the round on top, gain some motivation, tire this guy out a little bit, and then take it to the second round. He scrambles, he gets on top, and then Filo latches onto this Kimura, and it was a beautiful Kimura. Nasty stuff. Jafel Filo is obviously a high level BJJ black belt. You don't see a whole lot of Kimuras, especially Kimura. He used it from a guard to a Kimura sweep to end up on top. And then when you end up on top and you pinch your knees together like that, your opponent's head's trapped between your legs, you pinch your knees, you torque that arm, you're going to snap this thing clean off if he doesn't tap. He actually does tap. Ref doesn't notice it. Filo adjusts. As he's adjusting, it probably gives him some sense of relief. So he plays back like, oh, I'm still good. And then he recranks it and then he taps a second time. And it's like, hey, I'm out of here. If the round is to end, there's 18 seconds left. If he's not just to get snatched up with this quick Kimura, the round ends. Is it not plausible that he was still a better striker? He still could have had the better cardio, or in the second round made some adjustments, or not get taken down, or you'll never know. You'll never know because he got subbed at the end of the first round. And you can't say Filo got lucky. It was a nasty Kimura, man. Absolutely nasty work. But him submitting guys in the first round is what he does. And we knew that. The key here was to get out of the first round, which he was unable to do by 18 seconds. So coulda, shoulda, woulda. Truly believe if these guys fought 10 times, that ain't happening all 10 times. Carpenter's winning some of those fights, but they only get to fight once. We only get to bet on it once. I only get to give advice on it once. And I obviously gave the bad advice. I thought Carpenter would be able to. I knew he'd get taken down in the first round and controlled. I just didn't think he'd get submitted. And then second and the third round is when you really would have seen the tide start to change. But yeah, coulda, shoulda, woulda. Who cares? Not going to cry about it. Michael Aswell versus Lucas Almeida. I'll cry a little bit about this one, being that missed opportunity by myself that Aswell should have just been on the top. Should have been on the top after weigh-ins, after the hand thing, after the line start to skyrocket, after you knew that Lucas Almeida was coming to pack it in early. Aswell was like, if you're sitting at home thinking, oh yeah, I made some good money in Aswell, kudos. I don't know what I was thinking. I'll tell you what I was thinking is that my plays were basically done going into Wades. I watched Wades and then I finalized everything like right after that. So now hours later, the line starts to shake. Hours later, it starts to pop out that he's got. I don't think it was a broken hand. I think it was a hand infection. I think he got. I don't know. I can only speak from personal experience, but I got bit by a spider in the hand one time, and it did the same thing, and I just couldn't feel it. It was just numb. In his case, he might have been bit by something. He's in Brazil. Getting bit by a spider seems very plausible for him. A lot less for a Canadian guy. But it happened to me, although I was in Cuba. So I suppose I suppose being Canadian has nothing to do with anything. Doesn't matter. What I'm saying is I didn't really know how big of the hand issue was going to be an issue. And then apparently he's taking antibiotics for the hand. So physically he's going to be drained. He looked at it big on the scales, big in the sense that he was a lot bigger than Michael Aswell. He just didn't look all that filled out and physical. He looked a little drained mentally. Just like on his face, he kind of looked a little zapped. Squares off, looks big. The hand thing starts to surface. My stuff's already locked in. So I had Aswell way lower when in hindsight, the very least, he should have replaced Denise on the third line, or the guy he just put everything on him. He should have gone to the bank and said, give me a new mortgage, taking out a line of credit, putting it on Michael Aswell, because damn, he made that look easy. And it was not the hand that played anything to do with it. It was the chinny. Lucas Almeida just couldn't take the shot. It's not like you can't say, oh, I didn't see that one coming. He had been knocked down by Michael Trezano. He obviously got knocked out by Andre Feely. When you watch that one, he doesn't go all the way out. Like, as soon as the ref waves it off, he pops back up and is kind of just like, oh, shit. But it's a really small, short shot that grounds him. So Timmy Kwamba and Danny Silva are just not really that level that they're going to hit you. But I was watching this fight with my wife, and Michael Aswell comes out and he punches Lucas Almeida, I don't know, 5 times in the face, and Almeida buckles. And she's just like, oh, like, he's got him hurt. Yeah. Throws 5 more punches, buckles him again. And she's just like, oh man, this guy can't take a punch or what? And I'm like, no, it doesn't look like he can. And the worst thing about this is that at this point, he's landed 15 strikes. And you know that there's no less than 120 more of these things coming your way. Because that's the one thing about Michael Aswell. He's not really proven to be a big power puncher. He is a really big volume puncher. And so the fact that only 30 strikes could knock you down twice and put you out and finish this fight, buckled him twice more where his legs went out, but he didn't hit the deck. Could have stopped this thing earlier than it got stopped. Beat down. The fact that the 30 did that much damage, even if you could have survived that, even if you could have shook your legs, even if you could have accidentally eye poked him or kicked him in the groin and took in a quick Mexican timeout to buy yourself a few minutes to recoup, even if you do, as soon as they resume, there's another barrage of 40 more per round coming your way, and they're going to land because it's what Aswell does. I don't want to say Michael Aswell's a world beater. He looked good in this fight, obviously. And back at 145, it's a much better class for him. And if you're a guy that can wrestle, or you're a guy with really big power, or you're a slick boxer, those guys are going to give him problems. But if you're the UFC, book this guy in just some more fun fights, man. He's fun. He's really fun. And he's only like 25 years old, so he's young. Takes a little much damage for my liking, although he didn't take no damage in this fight. And I think he's trading partners with Josh Van. So like they fight the same way. Van's technical and gets away with it, but they both do the same thing. They swarm you with insane volume and take a lot of punches themselves walking forward, but it's super fun. And that was a fun performance from Michael Aswell for sure. So solid win. I wish I would have just put him all the way at the top, is the only thing I can say about that. Keenan Offley versus Ricardo Ramos. Let me get it out of the way by saying I had no investment in this fight at this point because my PRP is done. The line above that one's done. Like essentially, I have no tickets remaining with Ricardo Ramos on it. I decided not to touch any of the props or the over-unders on this one because it's a Ricardo Ramos fight. He's either going to finish you quick or he's going to get finished. So I'm saying this with a very much unbiased opinion. I stand nothing to gain. Don't even particularly care about Ricardo Ramos. He lost. It is what it is. The cage grab was dirty. Two dirty cage grabs. It's in Brazil. The ref doesn't say anything. The judging and the reffing was wonky. But in this fight in particular, it's like when I talk about moments like Clayton Carpenter, that one moment of he ends up on top, and in his mind, it's like I gotta steal the round back. There's 48 seconds. I'm on top. I just spent 2 minutes with this guy on my back. I'm losing. I need to get the round back. And you get overzealous. Boom, you get caught in the Kimura. Whereas if you could have conceded, I lost this round anyways. So I'm just gonna get out of it, play it safe, work the body, just stand up, land a couple more left hooks, get out of dodge, right? Come back. These moments just shape everything, right? Well, this is the same thing. Ricardo Ramos comes out, awfully shoots the takedown on him, and Ricardo Ramos immediately throws up this leg lock. In attacking this leg lock, which I don't think it's going to work. I'm not a huge leg lock and MMA guy, but they're dangerous when they work. And Ramos is these type of idiot that throws up these whack techniques all the time. Sometimes they do work. So maybe he's got a good bite on this leg lock. If he does or he doesn't have a lock on the leg, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that it offsets Keenan Offley's balance. So now he's tipping over because one of his legs is being extended out and he's standing upwards, and that torque, right, is causing him to topple over one side or the other. So he topples to the cage and he grabs the cage. Now, watching it live, it's like, oh, I think he can grab the cage. And the ref warns him, like, hey, don't grab the cage. But he grabs it, lets his hand go, grabs it a second time, and then uses that to get out of this leg lock. At this point, there's a scramble, and it looks like Ramos is probably going to end up on his back or at least on top position, and he grabs the cage again, and he hits a switch. Now, I watched it back twice this morning. Roll it back. Let me see it again, because in the moment, it's like it's possible he just pushed off. You're allowed to push off, right? But no, and I watched it back. It's like his fingers go through the cage. He uses this to adjust his angle, to have a slight bit of balance, and that allows him to end up on the back. Ramos is supposed to tip him. He doesn't tip because he grabs the cage. He readjusts. He grabs Ramos's back. He grabs the rear naked choke. He subs Ramos. It's still Ramos's fault that he couldn't fight off a rear naked choke for a few seconds, despite being a credible BJJ black belt training at the Fighting Nerds. He's not good. Even if there's no cage grabs, it's entirely possible that Ramos just loses this fight anyways. But the cage grabs altered the outcome of the fight, right? So, if I had money on Ramos, I would be pissed off. I would be genuinely pissed off. What the hell? And it's the same way that when we get to it, the Vicente Luque fight with Alvarez. If I had the Alvarez by KO or the under 1.5, or the fight doesn't go the distance, you're damn right I would be pissed off because he basically got robbed out of that. So what do you do? It's like it's a referee mistake, and in terms of betting something, it's that you're hoping the refs are going to get it right and the judges are going to get it right. But a lot of the time, you are at their mercy. Again, I can say this from an unbiased opinion. It didn't affect me. It's just if I was a Ramos guy, I think that would have, it would have irked me a little bit. And it doesn't necessarily mean he got cheated out of a win. It doesn't mean he got cheated out of well, he did get cheated out of something. It's an infraction that led to him losing. But the bottom line is that Keenan Offley or Con Offley might still be the better fighter. And Con Offley, you can't say, oh, he's a cheat and he's no good. It was a nice rear naked choke when he did get to the position. He is a strong physical guy. I don't want to shit on him too much, right? I like the guy. I generally do like the guy. For Ramos, he's not the most likable guy because he just fights like an idiot and finds ways to lose. This is just a really weird, unfortunate way to lose, I think, because of the two cage grabs. But maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Mario Pinto versus Jonathan Deniz. This is a bad pick, flat out. This is a very bad pick on my part. Um, the reasoning being that I didn't think Pinto was going to take him down. I certainly didn't think that was going to be Pinto's game plan, was to constantly take him down. When you watch tape on him on the regional scene, mostly guys are trying to take him down, which he got better at grappling because he's been spending time doing it. But yeah. It's a weird one, right? You watch the tape and Pinto looks like a striker, and now he's taking on a guy in Jonathan Deniz who's a better striker, and Jonathan Deniz at home, and he's from Brazil, and the money line looked good. Really did think that he'd be able to make something happen, but he got taken down in the first round. It was like, oh wow, geez, Pinto, smart game plan, makes in a takedown against the better striker. Really smart stuff. And then when he got to the ground, that's when it became very, very, very clear. Well, one, you've got a Brazilian kickboxer here in Jonathan Deniz that's just not comfortable on the ground, right? But two, more problematic, is that Pinto's a lot younger than him, a lot faster, a lot more athletic. And when he's on top, he's just floating position to position. Like Deniz had a couple moments where he'd get mounted and he would do everything right. He'd buck, he'd push the hips, he'd turn his hips, kind of like shrimp out, and then he'd get like a half guard for like 2 seconds. And then Pinto would just float back over him and right back to mount. So he spent a lot of time mounted in the first round, which is obviously a bad look, and you're taking a lot of damage. And then in the second round, Pinto just knew, I'm just going to go right back to the exact same thing. The crowd's booing, but who cares? They're going to boo anyways because I'm beating up this Brazilian guy. It's a really clean performance. He took zero damage. He took Deniz down at will. Absolutely mauled him. He's still only 27 years old, which at heavyweight is very young. We know he can strike a little bit, but he's low output. If he can now mix in some grappling, it just gives him more layers to his overall game. He'll go a little bit further. He's still got a long ways to go. This wasn't the end all be all. You took the path of least resistance against Jonathan Deniz, and you made it look really good. But I was the guy that thought this was going to be a striking match. I played this thing off as it was going to be a striking match, and we had the better striker. Maybe we did have the better striker, but it wasn't a striking match. So that's the problem. The thing with MMA and guys like Deniz is you'll see like sorry, I know I'm doing a lot of clicking around to get here, but Robelos Despang, right? Robelos Despang, an excellent example. This guy is a world-class striker. So they try to match him up with strikers, but even a guy who has no grappling can be made to look like an excellent grappler against him. So Waldo Cortez Acosta got 3 takedowns and 3 on 4 with almost 10 minutes of control time. Waldo Cortez Acosta, of course, is a professional boxer who almost never wrestles ever. And yet, against Waldo Acosta, he looks like he's a Division One standout. So I don't know that Pinto's really actually all that good of a grappler. It's just that compared to Deniz, he looked awesome. And he did. So I was really wrong about that one, I will admit. Joel Alvarez versus Vicente Luque. This is a very weird fight as well. Very weird fight. 30-26s across the board, but it could have been a first round finish. Could have been a third round finish. It's just a very weird fight. Yeah, so first round, it's not like Vicente Luque is not competitive in it. It's that Joel Alvarez is fighting a pretty good game plan. He normally is a guy that wants to storm forward, land those big elbows over the top, clinch you up, get takedowns. Not necessarily like he always pursues the takedowns, is that he'll won't fight long. But against Vicente Luque, he was doing what he needed to do, which was to fight long. His jab was just absolute money. Luque would try to wade in. He'd eat a double jab, pop, pop, and then Luque would just swing one wild. But at this point, Alvarez is able to shuffle his feet back and just miss it. He'd counter with a right hand a few times as well. His boxing just looked pretty good. His boxing looked pretty good, and Luque's mostly winging hooks. So against a guy that's 6'3", Alvarez has got a little bit of tall man defense. Luque knew that, so he would eat 2, 3 punches and then try to wing one over the top and try to get his attention. The sequence is a very strange sequence, right? We're halfway through the first round, and Luque actually lands the better of the 2 punches. Luque lands like a winging left hook over the top, and from the camera angle that they showed us on the broadcast, you see Alvarez's back. So you see him kind of put just a arm out, and then you see Vincente grab his eye like, "Oh, I got eye poked." It looked on TV like it was an eye poke on the basis of you were looking at the back of Alvarez. The ref, he's probably got a much better angle on it, but they mistake eye pokes and punches all the time. It's, hard to see. You give a guy the benefit of the doubt, right? So he sees, okay, Luke needs a minute, and then they roll it back, and they see that it's like a thumb in the eye. The knuckle of the thumb has caught Luke in the eye, and it's a legal shot. So the ref goes over to Luke, and he's like, "Legal, legal," and Luke goes, "Oh man, legal." And the ref goes, "Legal." And Luke goes, "Legal." And right away he looks over at Alvarez and he puts his hand up like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. That was a legal. That was a legal punch. My bad. Let's start fighting right now, dude. I'm sorry that I robbed you from that finish." He knows, not I robbed you out of that finish, but just like, "Oh, dude, that was a legal punch, and I had that reaction to it. I'm so sorry. We need to start resuming right now." And the ref instead is like, "Let me call a timeout and bring a doctor in." Brings a doctor in. For what? It was a legal punch. And you waved it off initially. And two, if you think that his eye is so compromised that you need a doctor to come look at it, call the fight off. But no, we get Jake Matthews where they're like, "Let's just continue this thing." And it's not like Luque comes back and he's all banged up. His eyes red, his face is red from a bunch of jabs he'd eaten, but he actually fought a decent last half of the round. Didn't win it, definitely lost the round. It wasn't like it was terrible, right? Second round, it is terrible. Joel Alvarez just mauls him. Vincente Luque, I guess he doesn't want to get punched in the face anymore. Again, this is something we talked about on the Bookie Beatdown show this week, the preview show, is that back in the day, he's getting in wars with everybody. Vincente Luque is getting in wars with the likes of, well, just look at some of these big ones. Brian Barberena hit him 169 times with a knockdown. Mike Perry, 87. Stephen Thompson, 138 with a knockdown. Um, Jeff Neal, 121 with 2 knockdowns. At some point, he was like, "I don't want to get hit no more. I don't want to get hit like that no more." And so his last couple of fights, he's been very tentative, a lot more tentative than he used to be, and he's not himself. That first round, he got beat up. Should have got stopped, right? Couldn't see it in one eye, got punched in the face. His face is swelling, it's red. His eye's starting to swell shut. Comes out in the second round, and he doesn't want to get punched in the face no more like that. So he pulls guard. In what world would Vincente Luque ever pull guard? A blood and guts come forward scrapper who also had taken Rafael dos Anjos down, a former lightweight champ, and took him down 8 times in their fight. Guy can wrestle, but certainly can brawl. What world does that guy pull guard? But he pulls guard and he just turtles up. And again, they could have stopped the fight in the second round. The significant strikes is 48-6. The total strikes is 122-7. That is the definition of a 10-8 round. It could have been a 10-7 round. It's a mauling, but there's a lot of people at fault here. The ref, he's at fault. He could just wave this thing off. Like, "Dude, I should have waved this off in the first, but I gave you a chance. Now I'm just gonna call this thing off." And some people might say, "Hey, that was early," but it should have already been called off in the first. So let me take some blame for early stoppage. If this is a late stoppage considering I let it go 5 more minutes. He could have called it. But the corner could have called it too. They could have been like, he's getting 10-8'd. He lost the first round, should have gotten TKO'd, but they let it continue. He's now gotten 10-8'd in the second round. Neil Magny's a third round comeback specialist. If you're Neil Magny's corner, you don't throw in the towel. You know Neil Magny has got peak conditioning, trains at altitude, savvy veteran, knows how to not get hurt. He's good to go. Luque's had a career of damage. Luque's slowing down. By the end of the second, that left eye that was swelling at the end of the first, it's gone. The doctor comes in and looks at it quick, but he's at fault from saying, sure, let this guy go out and take some more. And so he comes out for the third round to take some more. And then all I can really think is one of two things happen in this third round. Immediately, Joel Alvarez is like, I'm not going to play punchy kicky with you, so let me take you down, which he does. And then Luque ends up in a position where he gets inverted triangle. So you've got Alvarez basically in a sprawl position, but his legs are laced and he's got the one arm in. So it's not enough to get a submission, right? You can see a bit of a grimace on Luque's face. I'm sure he's tired and hurt and not enjoying this position, but it's not a submission. He just looks uncomfortable. It's that there's nowhere for him to go. So all Alvarez has to do from this position is just start punching the body as hard as he can. Luque can't go up. Luque can't go to the side. Well, he can go to the side, but that's going to be worse for him. He really can't go anywhere. So just start punching the body. Alvarez either one of two things. Either one, Alvarez is gassed, right? The first round, it was competitive. He spent some energy. The second round, he put a beating on Luque. He exerted a bunch of energy. This is his welterweight debut. He didn't have like a full camp for the fight necessarily. Luke is a bigger guy that has fought at 185 in the past. So not that he's a big welterweight, just he has fought at 185 in the past. Maybe he was tired from just having to fight a bigger guy for a change. Decided to take the third round off in a fight. He knows he's up. Take no risks. Thing number two, he said mercy on Luke, where it's like, I don't really want to hurt this guy no more. I hurt him pretty bad in the first. I hurt him pretty bad in the second. This fight should be over. His eyes swollen shut. I know I've won. I know I've won this fight. I'm probably up 2017 on the judges' scorecards. But even if it is Brazil, and they gave him the first round some weird way because it's Brazil, I still 10-8'd him in the second. In this third round, he's not going anywhere. Instead, he decides to just chill for 3 minutes. So he was either tired or he had mercy on him. But yeah, with 15, 20 seconds left, there's like 15 seconds left, he decides, okay, there's no time left. I'll punch the body a few times. He goes body, 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 body. Luque rolls to his side because he doesn't want to get punched in the body anymore. He goes head, head, head. This thing's going to get stopped and time runs out. You had 3 minutes of that position where at any point you could have thrown the 6 body punches to cause him to turn to his side, which would have allowed you to punch him 3 more times in the head and get this waved off. And he just didn't. So, I don't know. It was a nice performance from Alvarez. I think he's got the size to be good at 170. His second fight at 170, you should see an even more physical version of him because he'll have time to fill out that frame and get a lot more accustomed to it. I like Joel Alvarez. I think he's got a great submission game. I think he's got a great striking game. And on top of that, he's obviously a great guy because he could have seriously hurt Vicente Luque, and he kind of just didn't. So if I had inside the distance ticket or an Alvarez by TKO or an under 1.5, I'd be pissed. But I didn't, so I'm cool with it. As long as he won, which is all I needed him to do, then I'm fine. But it kind of leaves like a little bit to be desired. Like if it was on Dana White's Contender Series, that fight, would Dana have been like, dude, it was an awesome fight, we're bringing you in? Probably. But if Dana was going through a cocaine withdrawal, wasn't feeling good that day, and all of a sudden was like, you lied on him in the third round, no killer instinct, just like Brendan Luke Kane, the fight was awesome and you're a great fighter, but I don't like you. Yeah, maybe, because he really just didn't show any killer instinct in that third round. But I mean, otherwise, it was a kick-ass first round, beat him up. Second round, you 10-8'd him. What more could you want from a guy? Just he took the third round off. No doubt about that one. Davidson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. This one was important to me because anybody can hit a few favorites. It's like, oh, you got 4 or 5 of your best favorites hit, but you got to hit underdogs. If you're going to say, oh, I went 7-5, right? Why not just take every favorite? You know, the favorites will get 7 wins and 5 losses too, right? You don't want to be that guy. So you're always looking for which one of these underdogs can come through. And a lot of the time they don't. And so my other underdog on this card, Thomas Peterson or Stuart Nickel with slight dog money, those guys obviously didn't look very good now, did they? So I need a little bit of redemption for an underdog here. And Figgy got the job done. This one went about exactly how you thought it would go if you did the tape research. And like, there's no pat on the back. We went 7-5. You know, 7 times you're on the right side and 5 times you're not. But sometimes you can get a pick right, but still get it wrong. I know that sounds weird, but you'll say this guy Mario Pinto is gonna not people are wrong. He's gonna knock out Denise. He's got way faster stand-up. He scored 2 knockouts in his last 2 fights. He's only 27. He's young. He's got a big speed advantage. He's got a big length, 79-inch reach. I think Pinto is actually a better striker, got a speed advantage. I think he's gonna knock out Denise standing. And then Pinto takes him down right away, mounts him for 5 minutes in the first, takes him right away down in the second, mounts him again, and then finishes it that way. You were right. Mario Pinto kicked this guy's ass. You're absolutely right. But you didn't really think it was gonna happen like that now, did you? So this Davidson fight, we got it right, but it went down exactly the way we thought, and those are nice to get. It's nice to spend a lot of time watching something, come up with a theory, and then actually have it go to play. What I was seeing a lot online is that people were like, "What the hell is Montel Jackson doing? Why isn't Montel throwing anything?" And the commentators kept being like, "Montel Jackson just needs to throw a little more." And everyone's puzzled and everyone's baffled. And it's like, dog, we talked about this. This is Montel Jackson. 30 significant strikes. You think that's low? It's just as many as he landed in his last fight against Daniel Marcos, where he only also landed 30. What about that fight with JP Buys we talked about at length, where he only landed 25? That's 5 more less than he did against Davidson Figueiredo or Daniel Marcos. His career high is 75 over 15 minutes. That was almost 6 years ago. Almost 6 years ago, he landed a career high 75 significant strikes. So even guys like Michael Aswell, who aren't that good, but land 110, 120, you're just going to get drowned. And this is why this was a great spot for Figgy, is that Figgy is a very low volume striker himself. He lands 2.75 strikes landed per minute. So why did he lose to Corey Sandhagen? Corey Sandhagen, very high volume. And Peter Yan is very high volume. These guys will double and triple you up. You're done. He struggled against Moreno in the later fights because Moreno would just kept up too much of a pace. The move to 35, he's just trying to slow things down. Let's slow them down. Marlon Vera, this fight was a 3-rounder. He lands 45. He gets outstruck. But the 45 I land, I'm going to make them impactful. I'm going to mix in a couple takedowns. Low striking, couple takedowns. Low striking, couple takedowns. Montel Jackson landing 3 strikes per minute was only a few more than Davidson. Therefore, they were both going to be low volume. And Davidson mixing in a few takedowns in a low volume fight between both guys in Brazil would be enough to edge in the decision. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. The first round, they both land 8 significant strikes. You'll see this is a very weird stat. 8 significant strikes landed for both of them. Both of them, the total strikes was the same in every round. 7-14, 7-14, 8-8-8. You'll never see that. Most guys clinch you up against the cage and like knee you once in the thigh. Or like grab you in the clinch and like give you like a quick little shot to the face that it's a strike, but they just don't deem it significant. No, like these guys didn't throw anything. And the very few stuff that they did throw was always just significant. They didn't really pay dividends. They didn't work up to anything. It's a weird fight. The first round, Davidson Figueiredo gets their quick takedown on Montel Jackson, right? So he's able to go, I believe it's a single leg, turns the corner on him, dumps him, gets on top. And it's like, damn, Davidson can grapple, grabs a front headlock, readjusts, ends back on top. Montel's trying to get back up, but Davidson's floating nicely. That's the first 2.5 minutes of the round. Then Montel scrambles and gets back up. You hear the commentators say, and they're right, they're like a great first half, a start to the first half of the round for Davidson Figueiredo. He's winning the first half of the round. Got the takedown. Perfect. Well, now it's the onus is on Montel Jackson to like take the second half of the round back, right? But he just doesn't. He just doesn't. They don't land anything. They both landed 8, but there was a takedown. Therefore, Davidson won the round. The second round, Montel doubles him up 14-7, but Davidson got a takedown, min 10 seconds of control time. And it was weird because he's got no credited submissions, but he takes him down and he immediately looks for the head and arm choke. And so he got mount, okay? But to grab the head and arm, he jumps off to the side. And Montel Jackson's submission defense is sick. At no point does he panic. He just turns off to the shoulder, creates a little bit of space, causes Figgy to abandon the position. As he rolls and he gets to his knees, he's almost turtled up. Dude, that's how he rolls out of the head and arm. Figgy gets over aggressive and tries to jump on his back, and then Montel scrambles and gets back up. So Figgy did it to himself. If you want to have a boring fight, and let's be honest, this was a boring ass fight, should have just held position. Instead, he wanted the head and arm choke, and then he wanted the back to probably pursue the rear naked choke, and then he loses the position. Montel outstruck him 14-7, but was a takedown, and he did go for the head and arm. He did try to take the back. It's in Brazil. It's a figgy round. But obviously, the one judge that gave it for Montel Jackson, and there are a few people online that were like, "Well, I thought Jackson won too. Nothing happened." Well, I see it. Quite literally, nothing happened in the second. Montel scrambled and got back up, only gave up a minute on the bottom, and he landed twice as many strikes. So personally, I score the round for Figgy, but I guess I do see the argument the other way. Third round, Davidson Figueiredo versus Montel Jackson. Yeah, it's just the exact same thing. Both landed 8 significant strikes. Montel landed a takedown, but I don't even consider it a takedown. It's a nice. He grabs the leg, scoots it right against the cage. It happens so effortless. It's like, dude, why did you not try any takedowns in the first or second when that's how easy it was to take Figgy down? But as soon as he takes him down, Figgy puts both feet on the hip, pushes him clear off, and stands right back up. He got 2 seconds of control time on the takedown. So it was like, oh yeah, that's why you're not pursuing takedowns. Even though he's credited with the takedown, there's nothing to be had here. I thought the 8 shots he landed were better than the 8 shots that Davidson landed. So I scored the third round for Montel Jackson. I'm just going to give him this round. And this thing's a 29-28 for Davidson Figueredo. And so two judges had it scored like that. And I actually don't know. Two judges had 29-28. I don't know which rounds they came to the conclusion of who won what. I had it 29-28. I agree with them. The one judge gives it for Montel. Everyone says idiot. I say idiot. Let's investigate this idiot. But you can kind of see where that guy drew that conclusion from on the basis of nothing happened. Nothing happened in that second round, and Montel landed twice as many punches in the face. And he attempted twice as many punches in the face as well. So you're doing more and you're landing more. And the guy got a takedown, but didn't really do much with it. I thought Davidson won. Don't get me wrong. I'm just playing devil's advocate a little bit, where it's like maybe the guys that thought Montel Jackson, they're not like a robbery of the year kind of guys. Like you guys are blind. Like that would have been the biggest robbery of all time. People would have cried robbery, myself included. But you can't cry robbery that, dude, how did we not win the second? Well, we didn't do anything in the second. So I'm mad too, man. I'm pissed off. Oh, I'm so pissed off. UFC judges get me again. But to be frank, it wasn't like we kicked this guy's ass in the second and they didn't give it to us. It's like, you know, nothing fucking happened. So I don't know. It is what it is. Anyways, we're live or die by Charles at this point. Had Denise won and we were sitting on a 6-1 ticket, well, 3 tickets, the best one being the 6-1, I likely would have had something just to be safe. But in this case, because Denise lost and we were only riding the top 2 tickets, best one being plus 160, but the top line was plus money too. It was all on Charles. I can't hedge at this point. I just got to let this thing ride. So I'll admit, like the nerves are that the first few rounds are going to be competitive and Gamrot is going to take him down and he could have some success. And, we're back in Charles this week, but I've been getting burnt in main events here and there and guys that you trust, you can't trust. And even like Ankalaev, you think he might win, but maybe he's got a rib injury. Maybe he does. I don't care about the rib injury now. What I do care about is like you fight a guy for 25 minutes and you strike with him the vast majority of it. Then you fight a guy for a minute and a half. He just punches you in the head once and you go down. Like it's just that's the fight game. That's the fight game. You get strange outcomes. And if they fought multiple times, you get strange outcomes in all of them. It's the universe, the butterfly effect. Change one thing, it changes everything. So with Oliveira, he's hyper aggressive, man. He walked into a few punches standing. None of anything hurt him, but he was not. After the Tiburia fight, he made a comment where he was like, "Man, I'm such an idiot." Like I'm just paraphrasing, but the basis of the quote was like, "Man, I don't know what the hell I was thinking, standing in the pocket and throwing power punches with Ilia Topuria. Like I should have gone with a better game plan than that. I got too excited." So now you're taking on Gamrot, who ain't no Topuria. You don't hit with him, but you're not thinking, "Oh, I just got knocked out my last fight. I'm gonna take it easy." He just like barnstormed him. Comes out early in the first round. He's landing the better shots. He's backing Matus up. Sorry, where's my round? He's backing him up. He throws a couple knees up the middle that don't land, but they're getting close. He throws a couple snappy front kicks that Gamrot blocks, but it's like he's throwing the right weaponry and he's getting closer. And Gamrot finally gets hit with a few and says, "Enough of this," and gets the takedown. People will say, like, "Oh, it's such an easy takedown," in that Charles doesn't even defend a lot of these takedowns. Charles doesn't defend a lot of these takedowns because he's welcoming the ground game. He's, "Yeah, all right, take me down." As soon as he gets taken down, he right away fishes for a guillotine. He tries to come over the top and see if he can grab a bite on the neck. But unfortunately, Gamrot's wise to it, flattens him out, and he can't grab the neck. So what does he do? He tries to grab a triangle choke, right? And you can see Gamrot's wise to it, and he's able to use his hand to just kind of catch the ankle and prevent him from kicking it over and then locking up this triangle choke, right? He's trained for these positions, right? But Charles essentially goes from a guillotine choke and you defend it, and then he's looking for this triangle choke and you defend it, and then he's looking for this brief little arm lock, and then you're trying to defend it, and he switches it to a omoplata, and nobody's hit an omoplata in the UFC in quite some time. But two things: one, if somebody was going to do it, it's going to be Charles, and two, he can use this. I think Ben Saunders was the last guy to hit an omoplata in the UFC. Anyways, if anyone's gonna do it since him, it's gonna be Charles. And beyond that, Charles doesn't need the omoplata to stick. Is that he's using it the same way a lot of guys use it, which is to hit the sweep. Right? Is that I am now going to grab the leg and I'm going to offset your base. And Gamrot's going to try to roll with this, and that's going to allow me to end up on top. And then I'm going to take Gamrot's back, which he did. Beautiful transition. He's up against the cage a little bit, so he doesn't have that space to lean out. So I think that kind of prevented him from maybe getting that choke in the first round. But I mean, all the right things from Charles Oliveira. Wins the first, gets up, his cardio looks good, looks like he's $1,000,000. Let's go, baby. Second round, Gamrot's still a gamer. And you can tell that Gamrot's corner has told him, let's not go to the ground anymore. Charles defensively doesn't really defend himself that well with punches. So we need you to put 1-2s, 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 then put a four-piece together. 1-2 with a left hook and then a right hand. So Charles is a very high guard guy. And if you can get him to think that you're just going to throw a 1-2, he's going to block it. 1-2, he's going to block it. 1-2, he's going to block it. He's going to get the read on you that this thing's just a 1-2. Then when you throw that 1-2, he's going to look to counter, but you're actually putting a left hook and a straight right behind it, making it a four-piece. And then we think we can rattle him. So in the second round, Gamrot, good coaching, and they gave him, I think, good advice, which is like taking him down is just going to end up you getting into 3 more potential submission holds, then getting swept, and then getting out grappled. So let's know more with the grappling. Let's try plan B. Let's try and knock this guy out. Give me 1-2s and then make it a four-piece. If you watch that second round, Gamrot's outboxing him. He's not throwing any kicks. He's just throwing the exact combination that I believe that they've told him. And he throws a couple of these 3-4 punch combinations. They come around the guard. A couple of them hit Charles. Herein lies the problem. You ain't Ilya Taporia, dog. The punches do land, and Charles just has zero respect for what's hitting him. So he just dog walks through. It's just like, I do not care. And then eventually it's like, hey, I've got you backed up to the cage. I'm going to shoot a takedown on my own. Who would have thunk it? Charles is going to take down Gamrot. Well, who would have thunk it? Charles took down Michael Chandler at will. He was a D1 wrestler out of Missouri. Like, you don't think that Charles Oliveira can take down anybody given the right position? Oh, baby. So yeah, beautiful body lock, picks him up, slams him, and then just goes right back to work. Grabs the back, grabs the rear naked choke, one of his favorite moves. Iconic. He's in Rio, winning a main event as a betting underdog. Well, I don't know. I think he went off as a slight favorite, but he was a betting underdog for most of the weeks leading up to it. Well, it was a short notice fight too. But once the fight got announced and then the week-ish leading into the card, he was the betting underdog at home in Rio in front of these rabid Brazilian fans. Oh yeah, you knew he was going to show up. Gamrot showed up too. It just didn't matter. It's like if you showed up as your best version and they say it's getting beat by the better man. You just have to accept it. Well, he got beat by the better man. And there are a few fights on this card where it's like, well, if you ran this thing back 10 times, there's going to be 10 different outcomes. Like Montel Jackson versus Davidson Figueiredo. That would play out. Every scenario plays out low volume. But there's a few scenarios where Montel wins the split instead, for sure. Ramos versus Offley could have played out way different. Filo versus Carpenter could have played out way different. Yeah, this is one that plays out pretty well the same in every scenario. You know for sure that Gamrot can't strike with Charles. Yeah, he doubled him up in that second round. He was out landing him 14-8, somewhere in that range. But it was just matter of time stuff. You're landing with stuff that he's not respecting. He's walking right through these punches, and it's just a matter of time before he clunks you with one. You're lucky he took you down and decided to take that path, but dominates him in the first round. If Charles takes you down, we know what happens. He chokes Gamrot out. He's a better grappler. If Gamrot takes him down, we know what happens. Charles is a way better grappler and ends up on top. If they don't go to the ground, they end up standing. Gamrot tries to throw a little bit of volume, but hey, Bryce Mitchell was outlanding John Silva up until he got knocked out. It's flim flam bullshit. Please get away from me. They're not power punchers. You got to be a power puncher to shut Charles Oliveira's lights off. So what's left for him? BMF title at the White House. That's basically the last thing that is left for Charles Oliveira is a BMF title at the White House. My brother, me and him used to be into UFC cards. I'm talking like Topps 2011 series. I had a buddy that was a really good thief. And, like, he'd go to Walmarts and just steal sports cards. And I'm not really into baseball or football and all that, so it was just like, just go steal UFC cards. And I got a bunch of old ass UFC cards. But yeah, my brother, he opens up a pack and it's a Charles Oliveira rated ruby, 1 out of 8 in the world rookie card. So he's like, yeah, I mean, Charles is my new guy. And we've always liked Charles. But Charles went through a period of time where this card was worth nothing. Like, he got his ass kicked by Paul Felder. You know what I mean? Like, there was a period of time where this thing was junk wax, and then, now Charles ends up winning a title. My brother always messages me. He'll hit me up and be like, "What do you think that thing's worth now?" Because on the comp sites, no one's ever my brother got it graded. It's a 9, but he's never, there's not been one sold, so he's got nothing to compare it to. He's like, people online in forums tell me worth between 600 and 1,000 Canadian. So I'm just like, I just hold on to it. So, anyways, Charles wins this one, and he didn't hit me up. I hit him up. I was like, hey, he's looking good. And the card is Charles rear naked choking Spicely, I think. Eric Spice. No, not Eric Spicely. What was his name? Eric. It's gonna bug me. No, he calf sliced Eric. I don't think it matters, but it was one of his early ass rear naked chokes from the first year he was in the UFC. So it would have been Eric Wisely. That's what I was thinking of. But that was the calf slicer. Efren Escudero. It's him on Efren Escudero's back, choking him out. 2010, second fight in the UFC. And so I was like, hey man, and he won, and he got the rear naked choke. That's his move. I was like, card be worth some more money now. He's like, no, I figured it out. He's like, Charles fights Max at the White House and chokes him out with a rear naked choke, and it adds to his record because he's already got the submission record and he's already got the finish record. And beating Max by finish at the White House, then the card has reached its highest potential, kind of thing. So Charles been around for a minute. He's a guy that was thought to have no heart for a while. He's got a lot of weird, wonky losses. He's fought Max Holloway for the record already. He lost. It was embarrassing. He got like punched in the neck, and then you start complaining of like an esophagus. Well, I don't know. He just looks at the ref and waves it off. It kind of looked like he separated his shoulder the way he was holding his arm and waving. But he went to the doctors, and then he claimed his esophagus separated. There's was weird instances like that, but then like the last 6 years, Charles Oliveira's got like more heart than anybody in the game. So there's an old quote where it's like, you can't teach heart. Like, that's the one thing you can't teach. Like, this guy's either going to be a pussy or he's going to just be one of these guys that really wants it. But, it's character, it's desire, it's belief. And he's super religious. And it doesn't matter what religion you believe in, if you believe in anyone at all. But, when you believe in something, you draw power from it. Charles is just a guy that one day woke up and was like, I'm not going to quit no more. I've seen the people that I respect and look up to. And why do you respect people? Why do you look up to them? Because they're generally good character people that don't quit. Something resonated with Charles, and he decided, no more quitty. And then, like, once he made that decision, he's just been an absolute stud of a fighter. Can't say enough good things about Chucky O. Old Chucky Olives gets it done at home. And then, yeah, a White House fight for him makes a lot of sense for the BMF title. Great way to cap off a legacy. Or Max wins, and Max has an excellent legacy of his own. The better man will win, but they're two of the most lovable fighters in the game, currently fighting at the same weight class. Both former 45ers run this thing at 55, put a little trinket belt on the line, put it at the White House. Max is Hawaiian, technically part of the USA, so he's representing the US. Charles, he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. Everybody likes him. That thing would be gangbusters. So sign me up for that, guys. Anyways, I'm out of here. Enjoy your Sunday. I think there's football on today. And yeah, we got to get ready for Contender Series on Tuesday. It's a 6-fight card. So I'm going to require a little more tape study, a little extra digging. So I'm going to jump on that. Anyways, enjoy your guys' Sunday. Thanks for jumping in. If you catch it on Monday, also, thanks for jumping in. Recaps hopefully back. And I appreciate the support, guys. So all the best. Catch you guys next week. Take care.